Welcome to the Abyss, everybody.
That sounded really refreshing.
It is very refreshing.
What are we drinking tonight?
We are drinking
Revenge
from Proper Brewing Company.
You know what they say? Revenge is a dish best served cold.
Yeah, and the can literally says, "Revenge is a beer best served cold."
It tastes good. I like it. So
you picked this one out tonight, Clete. You having revenge on your mind?
I poisoned it. You're gonna die.
Jesus. Well,
but
folks,
this is from Proper Brewing Company. So if you want to just kidding, we're done.
if you want to sponsor us, I think that's our new thing: is sponsor us, beer companies. But we live in Utah, so I don't think that we could even have that. I think that's against Utah's rules.
Yeah, it's a little bit strict. We can only buy our hard liquor at a
liquor store,
state liquor store.
When I lived in Arizona, I was able to go into Smith's and buy it. They just had it everywhere.
That's so weird to me because I've never lived outside of Utah, so that's really strange.
It's amazing, and I hate it. And you know that ordering liquor online is a thing everywhere else?
I hope I see the day before I die where Amazon can deliver by a drone just a pint of vodka.
It just drops on your porch.
Yeah.
I'm out of liquor. Let's just order some.
You're sitting there in a bar patio and you're like, I don't want to pay fucking $5 a shot. Let's just order this little pint of vodka. You're just trying to be subtle about it.
They're like, Clete, you can't do that. You're like, oh, this is already here.
You got to leave.
You got to get out of here. That's your 5th drone tonight, Clete. You've got a problem. What's next? You can have a drone drop cigarettes too?
Beer and cigarettes.
Also, happy belated 4th of July if you're listening on Sunday. 4th of July was yesterday. Hope you guys had fun. Hope you didn't blow off your hands or do anything super crazy. And don't start a fire. I was evacuated this week for a fire, Clete. Can you believe it?
Oh, I can't believe you got fireworks early. That's not good.
No, I didn't light the fireworks. It was actually lightning, and it was 10,000 acres that burned. While I was packing up the car, I was covered in ash. It's crazy, man. It's nuts.
Was there a lot of smoke when you're going out to the car and everything?
Oh, yeah. So, actually, we just filed a claim with our insurance company, $20,000 in damage that we have to do.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's bad. All the insulation has to be replaced. So, in light of last time we did a Reddit episode, we're jumping back into Reddit tonight. Last time we did what? It was the strangest facts you could have lived happily not knowing or something like that.
Yeah, that kept me up at night. That was too much.
I had a blast.
It was so much fun.
So we're jumping back into Reddit, and tonight's topic is, what is the most mysterious paranormal thing you have witnessed?
That's a hell of a question, especially on Reddit. I mean, that's a lot of people. I mean, everyone's had their experience.
Everybody. I mean, we shared ours not too long ago, so I'm pretty curious. But, without further ado, Clete, why don't you go ahead and kick us off with the very first comment?
Sure, fun. My father passed away last year. One item he always said he wanted me to have was his shotgun, which had originally belonged to his grandfather. So this is an heirloom, right? I'd love to get that. For years, he had his shotgun stashed in the attic. After he passed, I'd gone into the attic to look for it, only to find it wasn't there. A few months later, I had a dream in which I was talking to him, and I asked him where he had put the shotgun. He told me it was in the closet of the spare room. I called my mother and had her check, and sure enough, that's where it was. Right? Isn't that weird?
Man.
Now, it's completely possible that my father had told me that while he was alive, and the dream was a little more than a memory, but I certainly don't recall that being the case. My cat's in the background, so if you heard any shuffling, it wasn't a ghost. But, I mean, interesting story, right?
Yeah, no, that is crazy. So, I think we talked about a while ago, I don't know, maybe we didn't talk about when you hear something in your dream, if you've ever had a question answered to in your dream. Have you ever had that happen to you, Clete?
I think I have, I vaguely recall it, but I don't, know an exact moment, right? Mm-hmm. The only thing that, really, comes to mind when I think of, dreams is I used to always get the anxious dreams when I was at I was in school and about to take a test.
Oh, fuck, those are the worst, dude.
And I didn't study. I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna fail. And the funny thing is, ever since I went back to school to finish my bachelor's degree, never had the dream.
Well, lucky you. I still have dreams about high school. Mine are about being late to class and not knowing where to go for class. So I'm just stressed out, and I wake up, I'm like, oh, I've been graduated for over a decade now. I think I'm all right.
Why was I stressing?
I don't know. It's nuts. But I get more deja vu stuff. I don't think I've ever had a specific question. I woke up, I'm like, oh my God, my question's been answered. I think
Yeah,
it's just
same
more
here.
of like, I don't know. That's-
Deja vu specifically used to happen a lot when I was like 14 to 16. I don't know why, but that seemed to be the place where I'd always have it. I'd be like hanging out with my friends and we'd be doing some activity.
activity.
Making like bombs out of fireworks. I don't know. And I'd be
Just
like,
the typical illegal things. It's all good.
I remember doing this. I'm like, I vaguely recall like doing this before, even though this was the first time.
Oh, well. Maybe it's a glimpse into your previous life, man. I will say, man, this beer is delicious.
Dude, it's so good. I love this beer. It's so good. If you guys can find this Revenge beer from Proper Brewing Company, literally try it out. They haven't paid us a penny, but it tastes delicious.
It is good. And they're getting free advertising off of us. This is pretty great.
Yes.
All right, let's go to the next one. So this one is from Stanley the Manly 44. It's a hell of a nickname. There you go. My mom told me this story the other day, and it freaked me the fuck out. When my oldest sister was little, like 3, she asked my then pregnant aunt to pick her up to hold her. My mom said she was like, "She can't pick you up, honey. She has a baby in her tummy." And then my little sister was like, "That baby is dead." Oh my God.
That's
This
kind of
one's
morbid for a kid, right? Yeah.
So my mom freaked out, but my aunt and grandma were fine and were telling my mom it was all good. She was just a toddler and didn't know what she was saying. Well, lo and behold, my aunt goes to the doctor the next day for a routine pregnancy checkup and the baby was dead. Give me the willies just thinking about it.
You know, they do say when you're young that that you're closer to the veil, it's thinner. Like you can just sense like spiritualism to a degree.
Yeah, we talked about that one.
But no, I mean like kids seem to be more spiritually aware. At least in the stories that I've read on Reddit or in other places, I feel like they have some type of more of an open third eye, I guess you would say, from Eastern religion.
Well, that's why a lot of the horror movies are centered around children, because they're fucking terrifying.
Children of the Corn.
I'm just waiting for my son to start doing the creepy shit that I see in here and stuff. I'm excited for it, but I'm also nervous. Like when you hear people like wake up and their son's just staring at them from the side of the bed, I'm like, what the hell are you doing?
There was a story by my nephew, I won't name him, but when he was a little kid, my sister-in-law told me that she woke up and she looked to the right of the bed, right? Mm-hmm. And he was just staring at her, and he whispered, "Candy."
Candy?
Yeah, he whispered candy.
Where's the fucking candy?
It's the first thing he thought of. I think he was like, I don't know, 2.5 or something.
I mean, how can you be mad at that? He just
It's so cute.
Candy.
So interesting.
All right, on to the next.
This one is by SB Tier. SB Tier. Okay. When I was 15, my mother and I were standing in the kitchen talking. There was a rack on the wall holding keys about 8 feet away. A key from the rack flew across the room and hit the floor near our feet. This is the only event in my life for which I have no explanation. Short story, but interesting, right?
It's just the ghost telling him to get the fuck out of the house and go for a drive for once.
No, I'm going to say something. I don't think I've ever covered this, but I lived at this one house, and I remember in the kitchen I was charging my phone. I was looking at it, right? I'm just I don't know, doing whatever I did when I was like 26. And out of nowhere, like the charger just came right out of the socket, right? It didn't fall down. Like it wasn't like a loose socket. It flew out like a trajectory. And I remember at first I was just like, all right, whatever. And I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, thermodynamics say this can't happen.
All right. This one is a pretty lengthy one, but let's go for it anyway. This is by Hyperbole Down. Scariest moment of my life happened while my friend and I were camping in eastern Canada as teenagers. We decided to sleep in this abandoned camper we found deep in a large forest that was near our town. It had been there so long that small trees had grown around it. We'd stumbled across it when we were exploring a few months back and thought it would be cool and brave to sleep there for a night. So one weekend, we did it. Would you just go and find some random camper in the woods and sleep in it?
So no, but asterisks. If I was a teenager, I would totally do it.
Okay, I guess they are teenagers. But Eastern Canada, that'd be kind of a cool place to camp.
Yeah. They got some cool forests out there.
We arrived after dark because we had gotten lost trying to find the camper. We had a really low power flashlight, so it made it even more difficult. Once we finally found it, we opened the rusty door and stepped in. The sounds inside the camper were shrill and echoey. There were typical camper things strewn about, cups, empty cans, swollen pulp fiction novels.
What the hell's a Pulp Fiction novel? I'm
Typical
sorry.
camper things, swollen Pulp Fiction novels, like the novel from the movie.
Yeah, I don't know. I know the movie. I don't know if there was an actual novel. That's strange, but let's go on.
Typical camper things. All right. Already tired, we holed up in one end of the camper where the bed area had originally been before the cushions had rotted away to almost nothing. A long hallway stretched the length of the camper so we could basically see from end to end.
I bet it smelled in there, you know,
yeah.
like mold and stuff. Like, I'm sure the rain got in there after so many years.
Yeah.
Ugh.
But, you're sleeping in the elements. What's better than that? It was a miserable night. There were several rats living in there. Nope, I wouldn't do it. If I saw a rat, I'd be out.
When I see a rat, I see a free meal.
Oh, God.
I'm just kidding.
I see, Black Plague. I saw them staring at us from a chewed out part of the ceiling. So, yeah, the ceiling has been chewed away, so there's definitely rain and mold getting in there. When the wind blew, outside the camper would shriek and groan. We even thought we heard a bear outside, too, walking around. Still, we feigned bravery and acted like we were having a good time, but we were on edge.
That's such a guy thing to do. Hey, I don't care.
I'm good.
Are you scared? You look scared. I don't know why you look scared.
You're looking a puss out.
You look like a little bitch right now.
You're a little bitch. I'm having the greatest time of my life.
I'm totally fine.
Toss me one of those swollen novels.
That's why men die before women.
Easily. At some point, I woke up from an uncomfortable sleep. I sat up to adjust myself when I noticed some movement out of the corner of my eye. At the other end of the camper, there was a small window, and as I looked at it, I saw a man's silhouette. He was clearly staring straight at me from outside.
Some homeless dude just stared at you from the window or what?
He's like, this is my camper.
This is my hobo life, and I'm going to stab you with my hobo knife.
Don't touch my cups. I mean, it's probably just his trailer. He's like, what the hell are you doing? This is my home. Just because it looks like a piece of shit doesn't mean it is.
Those kids are dicks.
So they're sleeping in this rotten trailer, and now there's this man standing out. All right, what happens next? At first, I thought maybe it was a weird shape of a tree or something, because that's easily mistaken for a man. But when I moved a bit to get a better look, the person clearly reacted and then froze. My heart was pumping, and I woke up my friend immediately saying, someone is here, over and over and over in a whisper. So he's like, someone is here, someone is here, someone is here.
That scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, that scared me more than anything.
Someone's here, someone's here, someone's here.
What? Not taking my eyes off his profile, he woke up immediately, and I nodded towards the window. He saw him too. We whispered frantically about who it could be and why he was staring at us. I just imagine, who do you think it is? Do you think is it a hobo?
It's Hobo Joe from the lake.
Oh my God, it's him. He's here. Is that your dad? They're just whispering at each other, pretending to have a jolly good time still. For the next 10 minutes, no joke, we stared him down. So now it's a staring contest. The longer we stared at him, the more frightened we got. Occasionally he would move, but always keeping his eyes locked on us. Eventually I shouted at him, "Hey!" No reaction. Oh man.
Stone cold.
My friend was braver than me and decided to shine the flashlight at him. Oh, big mistake. As soon as he did, we realized our horrible mistake. Oh, see, I told you.
Done it.
It wasn't a window at all on the other side of the camper. It was a mirror.
What?
Oh shit, it's going to be behind him.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hobo's with
shit.
the knife. Gonna get him with his hobo knife.
So this legit just this took a crazy turn, man. We had been staring down ourselves from the very start. Oh, so it wasn't someone behind them. They were just looking at themselves.
Oh, that's hilarious. You know what I was thinking of, though?
What?
Without a Paddle, where there's a bear in the front.
I love that.
They're like, you can't outrun a bear. He's like, no, I gotta outrun you.
I don't have to
That's
outrun
the
the bear.
first thing going
I have
in
to
my
outrun
mind. I'm
you.
like, I gotta outrun Britain here. He's gonna die.
Yeah, I'm a quick runner, dude. Completely idiotic. Still, it was the most fearful, relieving, and funny moment of my life that I'll never forget it. Closest to paranormal I've ever been.
That would be such a relief, though.
Oh,
literally, you
God.
thought you were at the edge of being murdered by some hobo cult in the woods.
Right. So first it's someone outside the camper. Then your next thought is, holy shit, this thing is behind me. And then it's like, oh, it's just me. Haha.
We're
So
stupid.
then you just go back to pretending you have a good old
They'd be like,
time.
I'm not scared. I'm not scared. Are you scared?
You scared?
'Cause, I mean, I don't know if you're a bitch or not, but I'm not scared.
You looked a little scared there, man. You looked like you were going to cry a little bit.
All right. Let's jump into the next one.
Let's do it.
This is from Make Skid Skill. Wow, that's a cool name.
Makes kids kill.
Oh, wow. Okay, I'm going to repeat that. This one is from Makes Kids Kill. He does not seem like a good person.
Oh, okay. Is this like the Slenderman?
Yeah, well, maybe. I don't know. I don't think Slenderman kills
Slenderman wrote
people.
this. No, but he makes kids do it.
I saw a shadow person once.
Oh.
That's a really cool way to start a story.
Yeah.
Like, I saw a shadow person once.
Because we know what we're going to be getting.
That would be like the best story to start, like camping by a campfire, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's see what he has to say. I didn't know that's what it was called until much later. I was living in a house in Laguna Beach that had been there since the 1920s. In its history, it had been a speakeasy. I mean, what's a speakeasy, real quick?
That's like an illegal bar, an illegal saloon.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, interesting. So people that want alcohol, like from proper brewing company,
If they want a good old jar of revenge.
that's where they would go. Yeah, jar of revenge.
But that'd be awesome to live in an old speakeasy.
Oh, wait, hang on. It keeps going. It wasn't just a speakeasy. It was a brothel, so a whorehouse.
Oh, God.
Interesting. And a house for smuggling illegal immigrants.
That's like the trifecta of illegal.
Yeah, and like if you're going to be illegal, you might as well just do all illegal, right?
We're already breaking one law. Let's just go all out here.
Yeah.
You want some drugs? You want some alcohol? You want some prostitutes?
We got it all. We're the Walmart of illegal activity.
Amazon Prime of illegal.
One day, my new wife and I were having an argument. I can't even recall what it was about. She walked down the block to get a cup of coffee and cool off. I was alone in the house. The way the place was built was incredibly haphazard. There was a bedroom and a living room on one side, then a bathroom with 2 entrances. On the other side of the bathroom was a hallway that had windows in one side and 2 bedrooms on the other. I mean, that seems pretty complex. I'm having trouble thinking that through my head.
Well, if it's an illegal building, they probably had to station it or build it in such a way. But I just want to hear about the shadow person. Quit describing the whole goddamn house.
Maybe in the brothels they had to have 2 entrances to the bathroom for some reason. I don't know.
Never been to a brothel, so I couldn't tell you.
From my bedroom, I could look across the hall into the bathroom, then through the bathroom and down the other hall. I was standing at my dresser, and I just noticed movement out of the corner of my eye. And I looked down there. There was, and honest to God, this gives me goosebumps just typing it, 17 years later, a black figure. It was maybe 3 feet tall, and it was only vaguely humanoid. It looked like black scribbles, like someone had scribbled a human shape, but the scribbles moved like electricity arcing. That's the best way to describe it.
That's actually pretty freaky.
That's bizarre.
That's like when we were telling our stories, and I had when I saw that figure over the banister, it was kind of like that. It wasn't like a solid figure. It was like this mass that was moving, and that's a good way to describe it.
Is it like a stick figure, or is it just like...
No, it was pretty full. It was it was a big thing. I mean, and it's just kind of moving energy and smoke. It's weird. It's insane, but that's a good description of it, and that's kind of creepy.
That is very creepy. There was no sound that I could remember. I distinctly remember when I saw it, I wasn't afraid. I was just like, what the fuck? Then it noticed me looking at it. I can't say it turned around. It just focused on me, I guess. Then I was scared.
Just then.
Right? I mean, I would be a little bit afraid, right? You're just staring at this bizarre scribble monster, and you're like, okay, and then all of a sudden you just see it shift. And it's like looking right at you. You're like, oh, fuck, what's going to happen?
And it knows now you're looking at it, so game's on.
He's
now.
going to scribble the shit out of you. Okay.
Scribble you to death.
I didn't move, didn't scream, nothing. I was just frozen because it's just fucking came at me. It rushed down the hall towards me.
Oh, no.
Damn, dude. I feel like I would run, but if you were frozen, I would have just assumed you'd piss your pants. I'm sorry.
That feeling of something chasing you and that sound
gives
and
me
seeing
anxiety.
It's bad.
I've had few dreams, nightmares of that, and that's the scariest dreams I've had.
And you
someone
can't
chasing
move.
you.
And you always can't move, or you can run, but you're going not going
it's
anywhere.
Slow motion. Yeah, I've had those.
It's like you're on a fucking treadmill.
I wish I was Sonic. I have no idea what it intended, but as soon as it entered the bathroom, the door closest to me just slammed shut. Then I screamed. I yelled for my wife. She wasn't home.
She's out there enjoying some good old Starbucks, cooling off from your stupid fight.
I went the fuck outside into the daylight and didn't go back in until she got home about 10 minutes later. This reminds me of when I was a kid and someone would scare me in my house and I'd run outside. That's what That makes me feel like.
I love the descriptive words because I'm reading this as well, and I thought that you're just adding these in there, but it literally says, I went the fuck outside.
Yeah.
I think it's great. This guy's passionate.
I don't believe in ghosts. I don't believe I saw something supernatural, but I know I saw something, and I don't know what it was.
Yes, you do. It was a scribble monster.
It was the scribble monster.
It's the scribble kid.
We got the cookie monster,
Big
the
Bird.
Loch Ness monster, and we got the fucking scribble monster.
All right, so that's a pretty good one. I mean, same thing. If you see this 3-foot scribble monster running at you, I mean, I'm just gonna gear up to kick it. I'm gonna be honest.
I wish you had one of those giant pencils with the giant eraser, and I'm gonna erase you, bitch.
Oh, I was gonna say, because I just carry around a giant pencil.
I'm just saying it would be a convenient thing to have at that time.
Yeah, you should write a movie script about that. the little scribble monster from the old speakeasy. Eat my eraser,
That
bitch.
was a brothel.
That was a brothel. All right, this is from Alacons. My grandfather passed away just a few weeks after I was born. I never met the guy, never knew what he looked like. When I was 5 years old, I started to see this man in our rocking chair. Ooh, rocking chairs are... rocking chairs are scary because...
Yeah, they're like a horror trope, right? Because you always see them rocking, without anybody.
That or a wheelchair. There's always one of the two.
Could you imagine, seeing a wheelchair in, an abandoned hospital?
No.
That'd be creepy.
I called him the rocking chair man. Dude, we're getting all
That's
sorts
original.
of...
I mean, come on.
What are you going to call him?
I call him the Scribble Man.
Scribble monster. Why? Because he had scribbles and he was 3 feet tall and looked like a monster. What's this guy called? Well, he's a man in a rocking chair, so he's rocking chair man. I feel like it's a good dynamic duo right there. Rocking chair man and scribble monster.
What if they teamed up? Maybe it's like the new Avengers,
Dude, we're just going to build a supernatural force of Avengers right here.
Let's do it.
My parents thought it was that imaginary friend stage, but it started to bog them down when I told them every single day.
It's kind of creepy, especially with your kid, everyone has an I've never had an imaginary friend. I never had it. But, I think that's a thing, right? Did you ever have one?
I like to think I did, but I can't remember. I was an odd little kid. I'll just say that. But, I don't know. But the imaginary friend stage, rocking chair, man, I'd get a little terrified.
I have a friend that's invisible, and his name is Stabby.
But, yeah. Oh, my God, Stabby? What the fuck is wrong with you, dude?
I'm just saying, if I had a kid that told me that, I'd get fucking scared.
I'd probably just sell the rocking chair. I'd get rid of it. Rocking chair man has nowhere to sit. Get out of the house. Well, now he's sofa man.
Sofa man. Then you start seeing fucking slit marks through the sofa.
Oh, Jesus.
I'd move.
Is that stabby man coming to play?
Yep.
They finally questioned me about it. I told them every detail I could remember, and finally they showed me a picture of a man. It was my grandfather. So, upgrade, rocking chair man became your grandpa. To this day, I'm 22 now, every time I dream, he is in the background somewhere. I remember when I dreamed about my high school graduation and I looked in the stands and I saw him with my parents. I like to think that he's just watching out for me and being there when he's not really there. So I am a true believer of the paranormal.
That reminds me of that movie. What is it? It's not The Conjuring, but it was made by the same people.
You are thinking Insidious.
Insidious, yeah, where they would take pictures of the dude and he'd have that creepy, old lady just chilling back there, and she'd always get closer.
Yeah, the girl in the black dress.
Yeah, that was a good premise. It was creepy.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah.
I like those movies.
Yeah, I did too. All right, the next one is from Fate Architect. I attended the same university for my bachelor's and my PhD. There was a lovely woman by the name of Jennifer. The guys all swooned over her. She was gorgeous, and I loved her because she read us The Giver out loud.
I love her because she read me a book. Dude, come
really
on,
weird.
bro.
It's a weird premise. But okay, let's just assume, he was just a weird dude. Anyways, Jennifer, gorgeous, was an awesome instructor.
Is that her last name? Jennifer Gorgeous?
No, I'm just saying she was gorgeous.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, clearly he's saying so. I think he has a crush on her. And she was doing her PhD in literacy. Fast forward a few years, and Jen has moved to South Carolina to teach literacy. I'm now in my PhD program and in that same grad student office she used to work in with other literacy people that were her colleagues. And then we get the news that she was murdered by her boyfriend. Damn.
Oh, what?
It's pretty epic, right? Like, everyone is totally devastated. It is a huge blow to the department, as she was genuinely loved by everyone who knew her. So, a few days after her funeral, her body was brought home. I'm in the office suite at school very early in the morning when nobody else is around. The grad students had a fishbowl office. It was about 10 of us with group desks within a large office suite that was locked and had light motion sensors. I'm walking in and pass a locked door with windows, and I see a woman with short, dark hair walk the other way inside,
It's going to be Jennifer.
which was weird because the light didn't flicker on when she moved, right? Because they said there was light sensors. So he sees someone walk by. He's like, why the fuck did the light not get on, right?
Jennifer's dead-ass body.
I mean, like, literally, that could be horror movie-esque right there. You know?
And it does remind me, we're doing a lot of movie references, but that movie Lights Out, did you ever see that?
No, I haven't seen it.
Dude, that's a good one. Different premise, but it's like this girl that's only in the dark. It's nuts, man. You should check it out.
I'm not gonna lie, but like this entire time I've been narrating this, I've been thinking about Jennifer's
body.
Yeah, that was a good one.
I mean, it was all right. It was like at the peak of what's her face's career, Megan Fox.
Was that Megan Fox in
Yeah,
there? I
dude.
didn't even know. I mean, people find her attractive. Anyways, so I walked around the corner to the door with a key code and let myself in. I walk inside and I head to where I saw her. The lights flicker on when they sense me. Nobody is there. It was just me and an entire suite of employee offices. I swear to God it was her saying goodbye to the place she spent so many years and where she had so many friends. It spooked the hell out of me, but made me sad too.
It's like that sad, spooky feeling.
It's a good story, but have you ever like thought you saw someone walk through a hallway in the corner of your eyes?
I was talking about my grandma's house, the episode we were talking about, and you know, I've seen things kind of dart back and forth, but all right, this one is from Meaningless Debate Man. So it starts with, "This is long, I apologize, but it is hard to express in this form. I've also posted this before. I grew up in the Arctic." So it's also a pretty good way to start a story. I grew up in the Arctic.
It makes me think, like, what do you mean the Arctic, right? Like, do you think it's Alaska? Could it be somewhere in Canada? Like, that's such a general statement. I don't know if I'm, like, ignorant to that statement.
You might be.
Yeah.
In the town I lived in, as long as it was a clear night, it was an extremely normal occurrence to see all sorts of strange lights move across the sky. So I'm thinking Aurora Borealis. Keep in mind, the winter is long in the Arctic, which means longer amounts of time being spent under the stars. It's quite beautiful, as long as you don't mind the cold so much.
Hang on one sec. So let's explain the Aurora Borealis, because that is such an interesting thing that happens. And anyone who knows is it always comes from the northern or southern hemisphere, right?
So are we getting another
Science with Clete!
Clete?
Ah,
It's
let's
been a
have a
minute.
drink. We're going to talk science. So what causes the Aurora Borealis? That is an interesting question. So really what happens is the sun sends out, light waves towards Earth, and they'll have certain what do you want to say, energy wavelengths, right? So what happens is Earth has an electric magnetic sphere that protects us from gamma rays and X-rays. Because literally, if you didn't have that, we would literally just die. We'd get sunburnt.
Literally.
And then we would just turn red, and we catch on fire and probably die. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. But those, it starts from the northern hemisphere and ends at the southern hemisphere. Well, vice versa. I'm sure it doesn't really matter. But when the gamma rays and X-rays hit Earth, when they collide with the electromagnetic sphere, God, I can't talk because I've been drinking, but it creates a light discharge, and that's what creates the Aurora Borealis. So when you have strong sun activity, what I think they call sunbursts or something like that, I don't know, that the stronger those are, the further it goes down to the middle of the Earth. There have been some times in the United States that you can actually see this. When you get it's called a solar burst, I believe. But anyways, let's continue the story.
I just imagine you being a teacher and sitting in the class and you're just like, well, I don't know. It's something or this. I know the general rationale behind it, but I don't know the specifics. Anyways, this fucking thing happens, that thing happens, and here you go.
I don't study this particularly. It's just something that I really like. Science is super exciting. I think the most cool experience I ever had with my life is a total solar eclipse. I was able to see that, and Black Hole Sun, the song, like it really just put perspective on that. Anyways, let's keep going.
All right, anyway, but thanks again for another session of Science with Clete. Sometimes I would drive a snowmobile a few kilometers out of town, shut it down, and just lay down on the snow looking up at the majesty of it all. The only thing disturbing the silence being the occasional breeze. I mean, what a life, man. You hop on your snowmobile, you go off into the wilderness, you turn it off and just lay under the Arctic stars.
Wouldn't that just be so peaceful, though? Like, you just drive out. Like, because I'm going to say one thing. Like, one thing that really struck me when I went to your house the first time, because you live in the middle of nowhere, is when I got out of my car, how quiet it was.
Oh, I love it.
Right? I live by a pretty busy road, right? So I always hear this ambient noise.
Yeah, but like, always something going on.
When I got out, I was just like, holy cow, it's so quiet.
Dude, there's nothing better than going out at night and just looking at the stars. Having a beer, looking at the stars, it's amazing. The northern lights are also a common occurrence. Doesn't happen every day, but often enough that they start getting ignored after a while, as long as they aren't too spectacular anyway. On one particular night, without asking my parents, it was their snowmobile, so he's a younger guy, just like, can I go out in the snowmobile tonight, Mom? Fuck no. So he's sneaking out. It's the first problem there. I decided to go on one of my midnight drives out of town. I drove a few kilometers over the hills to find a spot devoid of light pollution from town, shut off the machine, and settled in a good spot to look up at the retrospective. It wasn't all that interesting of a scene. A few satellites passing here and there, some relatively boring activity affecting the magnetic field, etc., and then I started noticing a clicking noise. So you went off and said like how cool this magnetic field is. He's like, and his comment is some relatively boring activity affecting the magnetic field.
Well, I'm just gonna say, if you live there, it's cool, right? Like I remember I camped out in the Uintas once in Utah, right? Like this is far out.
So many people everywhere. Get lost in the Uintas,
and I could imagine like when I looked up at the stars, like it was the most interesting thing I've ever seen. But if you're out there looking at it all the time, I guess you just get accustomed to it, right?
Quick story though about the Uintas. If you're not familiar with it, it's a huge, massive expanse of like woods. And my brother-in-law once got lost in the Uintas on a scout camp, and we got a call from my mother-in-law because we were out of town in Arizona, and she got a call saying that the scout camp had made it back to where they were at, and him and his friend were missing. And they had no idea where they're at. And a lot of people don't come back from the Uintas.
Oh, you're gonna die.
So, I mean, so my brother-in-law's, in scout camp, so they're kind of, trained to survive in this. But he ended up getting out of there, but it was a scary time. But I want to point out again, he started to say that he started noticing a clicking noise.
Well, he's in the middle of nowhere. Like, what would cause a clicking noise?
His snowmobile.
Oh, yeah, like the engine when it gets cold?
Yeah. Like freezing cold, like you're in the Arctic or something. At first, I thought it was the sound of the snow machine cooling down. See, fucking told you.
Oh, yeah, wow.
As engines expand and contracts a lot in the cold. But the source of the sound definitely wasn't coming from that direction. My next thought was there must be an animal nearby, in which case I need to get out of there fast. You don't really want to mess with a wild animal. I don't know what kind of wild animal's clicking at you. But the clicking is far too regular for an animal to produce it. It was fairly mechanical sounding. And again, the source of the sound isn't coming from anywhere around me laterally. It was coming from up. So naturally, I look up, determined to ascertain the origin of this strange noise.
UFOs, man. That's the first thing I would think.
I'm telling you, these aliens, they're everywhere.
You are about to get abducted.
Abducted and possibly probed. I see what I always see. Stars, northern lights, a lazy satellite crossing the sky. Hey, this guy doesn't like satellites.
Yeah, dude, he's like pissed at the sky.
He's like these annoying magnetic fields.
It's not a big deal.
Satellites. Get the fuck out of my sky, bro. But before I dismiss it altogether and begin heading home, I noticed something strange in the aurora borealis. There were 3 rather strong points of light. Yeah, it's UFOs.
He's getting abducted.
I ignored them at first, thinking they were oddly symmetrical stars, but this proved false. They were definitely getting brighter. I kept staring in morbid fascination as they grew stronger and stronger, yet still only remaining single points in the sky. All the while, the clicking noise is getting louder and louder and more pronounced, almost like someone started with tapping a pen on a desk to clacking billiard balls together inside my head.
He's getting hypnotized. That's how it works, man. Like, you just have this constant noise.
I'm gonna
And it, like, gets you into a trance.
Yeah. I'm going to predict something. I'm going to guess there's going to be some form of time loss here. Then it stops. The lights are gone. The clicking is not heard. And aside from being a little stiff, cold, and rather petrified, I'm fine. So aside from being frozen to death, I'm all right. I'm pretty good. So I jump back on the snowmobile thinking maybe I'm going crazy. The machine takes a little longer than usual to start up, and I'm beginning to worry, but soon it's running and I'm heading back to town. As I'm driving back, several plausible scenarios as to what occurred are running through my head. I'm thinking it could have been a helicopter from the mine, or some strange Northern Lights behavior, etc. Probably not that big of a deal. It's probably just some strange Northern Lights behavior, let's be honest. I pull up to my house. Lights are all dark. Strange. It wasn't that late when I left. It was midnight, right? That's what we said, a midnight ride. Open outer door as quietly as possible. Remove winter gear. Enter inner door. Man, this is like a SWAT operation now. The way he's writing this.
Like, literally, just say what happened. Like, my
literally.
God, you're dragging this on.
Open outer door. Remove winter gear. Enter inner door. House is quiet. Really quiet. My parents are teachers and are usually up late marking or watching TV. All I'm thinking is I have to get to bed without anyone noticing.
Then Jack Bauer tells me I need to do this.
Jason Bourne. Proves to be easy as I'm soon under my covers. I go to set my alarm for the next day. All of a sudden, everything makes sense. He had an epiphany. Okay, here's some more SWAT talk. Engine hard to start. Stiff. Rather chilly. Nobody was up when I was gone, what felt like a relatively short period of time. It was almost 11 p.m. when I left, and now it was creeping up on 6 a.m. Told you, time loss. I stood staring at clicking lights for almost 7 hours. I never ended up sleeping that night, and I don't go on a late night snow machine rides anymore. Probably smart, buddy.
I like his story, but like it was like written terribly, in my opinion.
I agree.
It was like too dramatic. Engine was bad. I went through here, and my parents should have been awake, but they weren't.
Stole the snowmobile.
Just say you got home at 6 a.m. You're like, what the fuck happened with 6 hours?
Exactly.
Like, Jesus.
I mean, it's like that. It's trying to build up to a climax, man.
This next one is from Prime Surfer. One I posted before. I'll be the first to say that all this stuff could have taken place in my head. Sounds like he's crazy.
So already I'm questioning what is coming next.
I might be nuts, but let me tell you this.
It's like when someone says something like, hey, you know what? I've got some good news, but everything after that is irrelevant.
I'm a schizophrenic, but the government is after me.
I've never been right, but let me tell you this thing, I promise.
The mind is freaky. Things can play some pretty trippy tricks on you. Sorry for the length. Whenever I was scared as a kid, my dad had always told me that in life you should not be scared of ghosts. Fear the living because they can actually hurt you. In my late teenage years, I came into some money after my father committed suicide.
Oh, God.
That's sad. And I received an inheritance from him. At the time of my dad's passing, he and my mom owned a cabin up in Oregon by Mount Bachelor. The cabin had been put up for sale since my mom could no longer afford the payments, and renting it out was not covering the payments either. The cabin was set to go on the market for sale in less than a month, and was in the process of finalizing all the paperwork with the realtor and lawyer. So for that month's time, the cabin was not going to be rented out any longer and was going to be vacant. I saw this chance to get away for a while and clear my head in light of all the things going on. I quit work, packed up my snowboarding gear, grabbed my dog, and headed up to my dad's car.
That's responsible. Quit work, grabbed the dog, went up to the cabin.
Now, this was our family cabin that my parents rented out throughout the year.
God, he said this already.
I know. It
Move
just
on,
says
dude.
what it says. When we were not using it, I had keys to the cabin and also had a code for the alarm, so I did not feel the need to stop at the rental management company and advised them of my stay.
So is this cabin being rented out or something? I don't want any spoiler alerts, but...
No, I mean, right now it's not being rented out. I don't think so. I mean, from what
It
he's
was a
articulating
joke.
here.
It was a joke
God.
because he
Okay, I
keeps
see what you're saying. Jesus. This has nothing to do with the coming story. See, none of this
Oh
had
my
anything
God.
to do with this story.
Okay, you're kidding me.
But I felt like I needed to mention it anyway.
I think that just pissed me off. So he's like, first and foremost,
Fucking see what happens.
sorry for the length. I might be crazy, but this doesn't matter at all in this story. But hey, let's get to the fucking. Are you serious?
I bet it's going to get good. Let's see.
I highly fucking doubt it, but
All right.
go for it.
Carry on. My first 2 days at the cabin were normal, and nothing out of the unusual happened. Spent my days playing with my dog in the snow, snowboarding, and in the evenings playing my PlayStation or listening to music, drinking and smoking out on the balcony.
Dude, I'm gonna
That sounds
fall
pretty
asleep.
cool.
I'm gonna fall asleep.
No, like it seems like to me, I think that's really fun. I would enjoy that. I would have a big ass cigar out in the middle of the Uintas in my cabin,
You're playing your
drinking a
PlayStation
beer
with your
yeah,
dog.
It's cool. Anyways, I had already stocked up on food, cigarettes, and liquor, so I was pretty much a shut-in, aside from the occasional out to hit the slopes. With my dog as company and DVD/PlayStation as entertainment, I was quite content and started to feel relaxed after all the drama that had been preceding my outing.
I wonder what DVDs he brought.
Porn.
Probably.
The cabin itself was 2 stories. Bottom story had the living room and a side guest room, along with a small kitchen. Upstairs had another 2 rooms, along with a walkout balcony.
Balcony.
God, I did it again. Upstairs had another 2 rooms, along with a walkout balcony attached to the master bedroom.
You gotta do it again, dude. I was laughing.
Okay. Upstairs had another 2 rooms, along with a
Fucking Christ, dude. Walk out balcony.
I get Australian.
Stand by.
Upstairs had another 2 rooms, along with a walk-out balcony. I can't do it!
Walk.
Walk. Okay.
Walk.
Upstairs had another 2 rooms, along with a walk-out balcony. Upstairs had another 2 rooms, along with a walk-out balcony. I can't do it!
We're never gonna get
We're
back.
just gonna go with it.
This is it. Oh.
Oh my god. Upstairs had another 2 rooms along with a walk.
I can't do it. Oh God. Okay.
Walk.
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 Walk out balcony.
Walk.
Walk out
Walk.
balcony.
Upstairs had another 2 rooms along with a walk out balcony.
Why do you say walk?
I can't do it. Walk. 'Kay.
Yes.
Upstairs had another 2 rooms along with a. Can't do it now.
I
Like,
know, I'm sorry.
psychologically, I'm fucked. Most of the time, they're.
No, you
Yeah.
have to say it.
Okay, upstairs had another 2 rooms along with a walk out balcony. I can't do it. Walk. Okay. Upstairs had another 2 rooms along with a walk out balcony. We're just gonna keep it. We're gonna keep it. I'm done. Upstairs had another 2 rooms along with a walk out balcony attached to. Just let me say I can't. I can't do it. I can't say it. It happens. Walk. What? Walk. Walk.
Walk out balcony. Like you're walking out on a
Walk.
balcony.
Okay. Upstairs had another 2 rooms along with a walk out balcony attached to. Walk. Walk.
You're saying
Walk.
walk out.
Walk.
Walk
Okay.
out.
Most of the time, most of my time there was spent either in a living room. Oh, whoa, I totally skipped it.
You did.
Okay. Upstairs had another 2 rooms along with a walk. Okay. Upstairs had another 2 rooms along with a walk out balcony attached to a master bedroom. Most of my time there was spent either in the living room, kitchen, or master bedroom. I never ventured into the other rooms and always kept the doors leading into them shut.
I think having a bedroom in a cabin with a walkout balcony would be awesome.
A walk?
A walkout balcony?
Good to know. Open doors to the dark rooms always creep me out, which is, I feel them there. That makes sense.
I always close the doors that I'm not using.
Let's just keep the closet door open. Anywho, the 3rd day came around, and I was going through my usual routine of playing with my dog. His name is Midnight, by the way.
Midnight.
Yeah, he's cool. And also, he has since passed. Sad.
Oh, sorry, Midnight.
So he's playing games and watching DVDs. That day, it was pretty heavy snowfall, so it did not feel like trekking down the hill to the main road in my car and decided to stay in. That's when things started getting a bit weird. In our area, there were only 2 other cabins adjacent to ours. All other cabins aside from these 2 were around a mile away from ours. Surrounding us was mostly forest and very tall pine trees. Tall. This is important later on. Both these cabins were empty, and from the past couple of days, I knew that no one was currently staying there.
I love that he's telling us which points of the story are relevant and which ones aren't. So we're finally getting relevant. With the only thing relevant so far is the tall trees.
I saw the Sasquatch.
I mean, literally, this doesn't pertain to the story, but the tall trees, thems are important. Kidding me?
So I've gave enough background, and I'm going to jump into the weirdness. Here you go. Here you go.
Oh my God.
Around midday, while outside with my dog, I noticed what looked like footprints in the snow around the area surrounding our cabin. It was snowing, so the footprints looked semi-fresh, like someone had been there in the last 20 to 30 minutes before me. I thought that maybe someone was staying in the cabin near me that I may have not have noticed. Maybe they were shut-ins like me. All right, whatever. The prints lead away from the cabin and disappear in the snow towards the denser part of the trees. I disregarded the footprints and went back inside.
Smart thing to do. They're not relevant.
I want to know,
Just
like, were they human footprints? Were they like fucking jaguar fucking?
Maybe they're not important to the story.
Maybe they were like fucking duck footprints. I don't fucking know. Nighttime came around and I decided to head to bed. My dog Midnight was laying on the bed with me and I noticed his ears perk up to a standstill listening position. This was followed by him quickly jumping off the bed and running downstairs to the living room. I lay in bed and stayed silent. I was kind of freaked out, and I could hear him moving around downstairs back and forth. Back and forth. After around 5 minutes, he ran back upstairs to me and started to do his doggy dance for the sign that he had to pee.
Or that he already did pee.
Or that he wanted to go outside.
So he had to pee or go outside. Maybe he had to do both?
Shit. Well, fine. I can't say no to him, so we both went downstairs to the outside driveway for him to do his thing.
On the driveway. Good.
What a dick. Only he didn't want to pee. As soon as we were outside, he started to pull on his leash, trying to drag me to where he wanted to go.
He's going to lead him to a body.
He kept looking into the dense part of the trees where the prints have gone earlier. But he also kept sniffing the side of the house and looking up towards the roof. After he figured out that I was not going to go where he wanted, he sat himself down and just started staring into the darkness.
He's like, if you're not going to follow, I quit. I'm done, stupid human.
He's giving the stare down. He's like, if I could get you, I would. This was a bit unusual for him, but all right. Maybe.
All right.
Yeah, whatever. I'm going to write this into a story. Maybe there are forest animals out there that he wants to go chase down.
There's forest animals in the forest?
But fuck this. I did not want to change anything, so I pulled them back inside and we both headed back upstairs. After half an hour later, I was lying in bed when I heard what sounded like hooves walking on my roof. The devil's footprints.
That or Rudolph.
Fucking Rudolph and his red nose from Satan.
Oh.
It was only a series of around 6 steps, and I rationalized that it could be a pine cone falling from the tree onto the roof.
Yeah, that's it.
That's all it is. Like, does it bounce 6 times?
I heard hoofs. It might have been a pine cone. I don't know. Might have been a goddamn squirrel.
I hate him.
Dude, this guy is making me upset.
Or maybe a kind-hearted forest animal running around on his roof.
Are you shitting me? That's what it says?
Could have been a wabbit. But here's the thing. The steps seemed to be spaced apart, like a man's length stride.
It's just a very tall, bouncing pine cone.
Yeah. So it was really freaking me out. Midnight also heard the noises and was quick to run to the balcony screen door, expecting me to let him out. All right. You know what? I'm a tough guy.
Oh, God.
And at the time, I considered myself to be fairly well-built and strong enough to handle myself.
At the time, he says, I consider myself to be very well built. I'm going to kick this guy's ass.
So I grabbed my coat and shoes along with my cigarettes and flashlight and went out on the balcony. Fuck it, right?
Right.
As soon as I went outside, I lit up my cigarette and started canvassing the roof with my light. Nothing there, and the snow on top was undisturbed. Weird. Must have been all in my head.
You've already said that. Probably in your head.
What about midnight hearing the noise? Maybe it was feeding off my fear and paranoia. I started to calm down and relax again. By the way, I'm shaking right now and my heart is beating as hard as I am typing this next bit. My eyes started to adjust to the darkness and I kept smoking and just staring at the stars and trees next to our cabin. That's when I saw it. And the trees that was a little taller than our cabin, around 20 feet from our balcony, I saw what looked like a man crouched in a squatting position in between the two branches. It was squatting on one branch, and its arms were extended above its head, holding onto the branch above me. Fuck me. What the fuck is that?
I love that.
It's probably the hobo, from the mirror.
It's just a mirror. It's a mirror.
It was a mirror the whole time. I wasn't sure if I was really seeing this thing and stood there staring and sat there motionless. I noticed Midnight stand up and start pacing behind me and lightly barking at the same time. The thing still did not move. I put my cigarette out and I was debating on shining the light in the direction, but something in my head kept me screaming not to. So I walked backwards to the inside of the room and pulled Midnight with me. Once inside, I locked the door and shined the light in the thing's direction, but there was nothing there. I shut the curtains to the screen door and retreated back to the bed. But later on in the night, I heard a light tapping on the screen door, like someone was tapping on the glass with their fingers. It was consistent and did not stop for nearly an hour. Midnight seemed to stare at the door, but he would not go near it anymore. The weirdest part was I had a feeling that someone was inviting me to open the door. But at the same time, I kept hearing my dad's voice in my head telling me to stay in bed and not to. I listened to my dad's voice and just stayed there where I was, passed out, eventually, and woke up to the morning, and everything was normal. The rest of the week I spent there was non-eventful, and nothing else out of the ordinary happened. I totally admit that it could have all been in my head, a lot of stuff going on at the time, so I was pretty fucked up from all the drama.
I think he's fucked up from all the alcohol and peyote.
I call the story bullshit. I don't know.
That was such a long, drawn-out, anticlimactic. It's in your head. I feel bad for your dog, Midnight, but otherwise that was ridiculous.
All right, guys. Well, this was pretty fun. I like these Reddit episodes. They're one of my favorite things to do.
That last one was a chore, though, I will say.
It was a little bit.
But I will say, again, happy 4th of July to all of you guys. But next week, we are going to be doing another listener submission episode. It's been like 4 episodes past, but we actually had quite a lot of submissions come in, which is amazing. So thank you guys for your submissions. Again, we've said it over and over. If you want your topic covered, even if you have a story you want us to narrate that you wrote, enter theabysspod@gmail.com or on Facebook at Enter the Abyss Pod.
Well, as always, thank you for entering the abyss.
Until next week.